Hi everyone, how are we? Just go edit my name. Jessica Hitchings.
Hitchings.
Hitchings,
Oh
I like
goodness.
it.
Who wrote that?
Not me.
I'm just bumping it, baby.
Oh, I bet she's getting big, Amy. Hello, Fridella. She's so cute.
Oh.
She's beautiful.
We've been out on a barbecue today, so
Oh, she's had a big day.
she's had a big day. Yep.
Nice. How are you, Sarah? Hi, Jill. How are you?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
hi.
How are you, Jill?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Good.
Where are you?
We're in Wagga, Jess and I. Whereabouts are you, Jill?
I'm in the Blue Mountains,
Oh, lovely. Is it
Katoomba,
raining?
and it's wet
I was
and
going to ask whether
raining.
it was raining. Yeah, we had it yesterday.
I thought we were going to have lovely weather till the weekend, but no.
Well, we had nice weather today, so maybe that's heading your
Oh,
way
did you?
tomorrow. Yeah, it was
You're
beautiful.
from Wagga, where all the great sports people are.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Jess and I are great sports people, although I mean Jess might be, but I'm definitely not.
Once upon
There
a time.
must be something in the water down there.
Yeah, they do love their sport here in Wagga.
You're a great sportsman.
I guess my disclaimer could be I wasn't born here, so and I don't
Oh,
play
okay.
sports either. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's what I missed out on, some of the Wagga genes.
It's nice, Wagga. I've only ever been there once, but I liked it. It was nice.
You'll have to come back for a repeat visit.
Yeah.
Although I've only been to the Blue Mountains once, and that was last year. So
Oh, really?
I would have thought that that's much more of a destination than Wagga.
Oh, we were travelling somewhere. We went through Wagga.
Oh, nice.
It was nice.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's in a good location, halfway from Melbourne to Sydney is nice, 2.5 hours from Canberra. It's nice for all those reasons.
Do you like living there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I always say it's big enough that you don't know everyone, and it's small enough that you're still running into people that you do know when you go out. So I like that about it.
Yeah, that's like the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
Nice to be away from the city, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Ellen. How are you? Let me just close my hall door. 2 seconds. Sounds like my son's playing video games in there.
My little girl.
How are you, Ellen? You're fine. We can't hear you, but you can obviously hear us, so that's all good.
That might be better.
There we go. All ready for school holidays?
Oh, I'm trying to still sort out the sound.
Okay. Who else is keen for school holidays? Your kids are still a bit young yet, Amy. And Jess, yours are still too young to really make a difference in school holidays.
One more year.
Yeah. It'd be nice to be a teacher this week, I think.
My niece is a teacher in Molamine.
Oh, they've already started in Queensland. Second week next week.
Little girl.
Yeah, nice. What's the weather like up there, Sarah? We'll just give it a few more minutes just to make sure that we're not missing anyone. We'll make sure we start on time. Has anyone cooked the dishes we're making tonight? No, me either. Jess has. Jess has definitely cooked the brioche buns before. Warm but rainy yesterday and today. Oh, that sounds lovely. I love Queensland. Hello, Fredella. She's got her eyes open now, Amy. So Amy's one of our consultants in Goulburn. This is her little baby. How old is she? About a month. No, a bit more.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Oh, a month.
Oh,
She's a bit cute.
She's had a bath.
oh, look at that. Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, it would be lovely up there, Sarah. Hi, Lenore. How are you?
Hello, and well, thank you. Sorry, I'm in the middle of cooking dinner.
You're fine. What are you cooking?
Oh, I'm cooking Pat. He's just having a homemade stroganoff pie with veggies, and I'm having fish. Yeah.
Very impressive.
You got a few coming?
I think we had about 12 booked when I looked. So
Oh, excellent.
yeah,
Lovely.
So we'll give it another couple of minutes and then we'll get started. Have you made
Okay.
either of the dishes that we're making tonight?
No, I haven't.
Cool.
No. So
I haven't
That'll
made
be
them
good to
either.
have a
So
look at.
this coconut prawn soup has been on my to try list for a very long time. So I'm
yeah.
slowly, whenever I want some recipe inspo, going to my to try list and ticking things off it. So,
beautiful.
but Jess has made these brioche buns quite a few times. She's a little bit of an expert with the
That'll be interesting. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
interesting to get a few tips or something on those.
Definitely.
Lovely. Oh,
Best thing about
Sorry,
it,
I'm
Jess and I live in the same suburb. So when we're finished, I'm going to drive around to her house and bring her some soup, and she's going to give me some of those buns. So
beautiful. Sounds good. Is Kerry on this as well?
I don't know if she's getting on tonight. She hasn't registered. She might do.
That's what doesn't matter. I was just, oh, sorry, I'm trying to get my phone organised. I was just curious.
No, that's okay.
Righto. I'll keep going with dinner if that's all right,
Of course.
and I'll keep listening.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Well, let's get started, shall we? So to kick us off, Jess is going to make a batch of the buns for us, and then they're going to prove in the time it takes me to chat and do a few things on my Thermomix. So take us away, Jess. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pin you to the top here. There we go. And I'll put myself on mute.
Okay, lovely. Hi, my name's Jess Hutchings. One of the consultants with Nick. So we're going to do the brioche buns baked in the cast iron Fera cookware. So I've already got my recipe up. So we're going to start off with 150 grams of water. 80 grams of milk. Two teaspoons of instant yeast. Now I use this one. I keep it in the freezer. $20 grams of white sugar. Insert the mixing cup, and so this is going to preheat it up for 3 minutes. So it's going to heat that up with the yeast for about 3 minutes. And while we're doing that, so what I've done is I've prepared a piece of baking paper, which I'll use in the cast iron base. What I've done is I've placed the base, the lid on top, and then that way I've worked out exactly how much paper I'll need for that. So that way, and always do a couple of centimeters, maybe 2 or 3 centimeters either side of the edge of the lid. That way, when you're bringing it in and out of the cast iron cookware, you've got something to grab on the edges. So that's going to be about 3 minutes or 2 minutes now.
While that's doing its thing, I'd love for some of you guys to either pop in the chat or come off mute and just share with the group what kind of bready dough things you've made either recently or in the past. I made the spiced fruit loaf a few weeks ago, and it was delicious. So it's just like raisin bread. I did overcook it slightly, so it's a little bit crusty on the outside, but I don't have the cast iron bakeware either, Sarah, but could you do this in a different dish? It probably wouldn't turn out quite as good, Jess, but do you think you could do it in a regular dish?
You can do it in your cast iron dish, or you can do it because it's cast iron is preferred because it's got that higher heat. Or you can do it in a casserole pot with a lid, but it may take slightly, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It holds that higher heat.
Yeah, awesome. Good tip. Thank you.
Well, I made the classic wholemeal loaf today in the Thermomix square tin.
Lovely, Jill. What was that one, sorry?
It's called the classic wholemeal.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and I cooked it in and the first time I'd used it was the square bread pan with the lid, on the top.
Yeah.
And it came out perfectly.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Lovely.
Yes, I'm really thrilled with that.
Is that the first time that you've used your loaf tin?
Yeah, and I heard you didn't have to grease it, so I didn't. And it just fell out.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So that'll be done every week now.
I'll find those recipes and I'll pop in the chat. So classic wholemeal.
Yeah, it had butter in it too, and I thought, oh, this is going to be funny with butter in it, but I don't know. It was just lovely.
Oh, I haven't come across this one before. I'll share it so that people can
okay.
go and bookmark it.
I was just scrolling through and I thought the picture it looked really nice. So
it does. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, so it was, and in that pan it was just perfect, just so square.
Good tip. And I'll grab the spiced fruit loaf, the one that I did. I'll put that in there too.
I love fruit loaf.
Yeah, I can't believe I've never made one before.
Is it in there? I'll have a look.
There we go.
So that's just finished on its little 3-minute preheat. So we're going to add the 450 grams of baker's flour. One and a half teaspoons of sea salt, or any salts that you've got that you prefer. $80 grams of salted butter. Now this butter is pre-softened. One egg. I'm going to insert the mixing cup into the measuring bowl lid and press next. And so this is going to knead for 10 minutes.
10 minutes is a decent kneading time. I don't think I've come across any recipes that need for 10 minutes yet.
Sugar, milk, and yeast.
So while your Thermomix is kneading for 10 minutes, what's something you would do? You can tell me.
Oh, with a 3-year-old and 4-year-old, probably prepare them something to eat or get them a bath sorted.
But you would stay in your kitchen, wouldn't you, Jess? You would stay in your kitchen, you would supervise it.
Oh, yes,
kneading.
we would, yeah. Well, I'd send the other half off to sort out the kids for sure. But yeah, no, I never leave the Thermomix alone while it's doing the knead. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So especially 10 minutes, because that's quite a while. So you're going to end up with a nice big thing of dough, but it's just going to be, yeah.
This dough is a more of a wet dough as well.
Okay.
So it will be sticky, so it will move around a little bit more. So it won't bounce around in the bowl once it's kneading. It'll stick to the edges, but it still will move around.
Yeah. Sorry, Amy, what were you saying?
I found mine, like I still don't go to the kitchen when I do dough, but with the slider board, it doesn't move around as much. Have you found that?
I haven't actually noticed whether it has or hasn't. I'll have to pay attention when I do it next, but you could be right because it's got a pretty good like grippy thing on the bottom of it. So awesome. Well, while Jess's bread is kneading, I might make a start on this coconut and prawn soup, if that's okay. So let me just remove your pin, Jess. And I will pin me. Okay. All right. So I've already saved my coconut and prawn soup in my week. So for those that have a TM6, how much do you love your weekly planner where you can just, so my daughter is having her birthday party on Saturday. So today already I've made this strawberry jelly slice and I've popped these strawberry jelly boats. Not sure if I make them, but they're in there. And then I'm making some chicken pies on the day, but I'll also make some scones and things. I just haven't put them in there yet. But tonight, I'm going to do the coconut and prawn soup. So obviously if we scroll down, it's going to give us our list of ingredients and our steps. It's going to give us tips. So it's in the tips, it is actually telling us how to make the porcini mushroom powder, but I'm actually not putting that in because I don't like mushrooms. It did say it was optional. So, and of course our nutritional panel there. All right, so we're going to hit start cooking. All right, there we go. 5 grams of fresh parsley leaves. Pop in some parsley. I haven't even done an amazing job of getting it off the stem, to be honest. There's still definitely a little bit of stem there. Lid on, and we're just going to chop those 3 seconds on speed 8. And pop that into a bowl. That's just a very rough kind of chop. You could definitely do it again. This is only going to be a garnish for the top of the soup. So I'm not going to bother doing it again because, to be honest, if I know me, I'm probably going to forget to put it on anyway. It'll be the first time that I've made up a garnish and then put it to the side and then completely forgotten that it even goes on the dish. So, oops, and I just got a decent amount of it on my bench too. Okay, I'm not going to bother cleaning out that bowl. That to the side, down there. Okay, now we're going to pop in 2 garlic cloves. Just got a couple of cloves of garlic. Oh, the bowl's not quite sitting down. 70 grams of red onion. So that literally ended up being half an onion. It's a little bit over 70 actually. It is, see, it's 95, but I can probably do more with a half an onion than I can with like 2/3 of an onion. 10 grams of ginger. It did ask me to slice it up into rounds. I actually haven't. I've just got it in one piece. But I know from prior experience that it's still going to cut it. I'm going to pop my lid on. 5 seconds, speed 5. Chop. scrape down the sides. You've done the garnish thing too, Ellen. I'm glad I'm not the only one that yeah, often I buy like coriander or something to put on top and then I forget that I'm supposed to garnish it, so I just don't. All right, so we can see that ginger is well and truly chopped up there, so even if I didn't slice it up in discs, it is still well chopped. 30 grams of rapeseed oil. Now, I know many are probably familiar with this, but this is actually canola oil. It's just another name for canola oil. I did have to have a really good read of the recipe list because I thought it said grapeseed oil to start with. It said 30 grams and then there's a slight space. So it is just canola oil. But honestly, you could probably use grapeseed oil. It's just something that hasn't got a lot of taste since it is going to be in a soup. A little bit less in. 300 grams of medium raw prawns. Let me grab the prawns. This recipe called for 450. And I bought 500, but once I peeled them, I'll actually be surprised if there's that many here. But also, it's only for Blair and I and Jess, so it's probably not going to really matter. We might just put in, actually we'll have 300, but we just don't have the, not quite 300. Simmering basket on mixing bowl lid. So we want to take our measuring cup off here. I'm going to pop our simmering basket on the top here. Now, everyone's probably seen, if you own a TM5 or a TM6, you've probably seen the safety measures that have come out just in regards to if your Thermomix is heating over 100 degrees, just to pop your simmering basket on the top. So 3 minutes, 120, speed 1. That's the only difference in that recipe. How's your kneading going, Jess?
Got about 2 minutes 30 to go, and then it should be ready. So once that is finished, what we're going to do is place the dough onto the bread mat or the silicon mat, and we're just going to shape it into a smooth ball, and then place it into a bowl and cover it. And then we're going to let that prove for an hour. I have one already pre-proofed that has doubled in size, that we're just going to knock out. And then we're going to portion it into 10 portions. So straight out onto there, and then knock it straight out. And then we're just going to portion it straight into that. So we've got the round just there. So the easiest way I find to portion it out is to put it straight into half and then make 4 cuts. 4 there. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that way you've got it, your 10 portions through there. If one looks a little bit small, just grab a little bit off one of the big ones. And all you need to do is, all we're going to do is just roll them around. Then we're going to place 4 in the middle. So we're going to straight onto that, 4 in the middle and 3 on either side. And then we're going to let that prove for another 20 minutes under a tea towel.
So you'll see that Jess is using the dough cutter there. So really important if you have a thermomat to not cut on it. So this dough cutter is brilliant because it will cut your dough without cutting your thermomat. So I know that before I became a consultant, my very first thermomat my husband cut on. We'd had it for one day and we made pizza and he used it to slice the pizza. So if you cut on your thermomat, pretty much the only thing it's good for after that is maybe like kids craft or Play-Doh. You cannot eat food that's come from it because it has silicone and fiberglass in it. Yeah, so yeah, just a little bit of a word of warning with that, but they are brilliant things once you know to not cut on them. You killed a mat too, Ellen. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm very poor at reading instructions, I have to say. All right, I'm just going to jump back over to mine while Jess is finishing off because we're ready for my next step. That looks so pretty, Jess. Jess, could you prove it in the Fira?
Yeah, you can. I mean, so what I've done is, so the Thera needs 20 minutes preheated in the oven. So that's why we're not proving it in the Thera.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, once we've done that, we put that cast iron pot straight into the oven to preheat it for about 20 minutes prior to us actually placing the dough balls into it.
Brilliant. So another good tip too, you can actually put your thermomat over the top of the dough and that will help prove it too. So that's really handy if you're going to, you know, put it out in a car or if you've already made like balls like Jess has. All right. I'll just take off my measuring cup there. How are you going, Jess? Has yours finished kneading?
Yep.
You've already done that step though, haven't you?
Yep, we just went through that step. So
a big thumbs up to Jess because Jess will have made 3 batches of this by the time tonight is over. So
yes, I did promise the partners' workmates some brioche buns. So you can see it's a very wet dough.
Looks great.
Yeah. So
all right. While Jess is now, do we all know the easiest way to get the dough out of the bowl?
Sure, yeah.
Jess learnt this at our last cooking class, didn't you, Jess?
Oh yes. So this is a sticky dough, so I'm going to loosen.
This is very sticky, so it might not work quite as well, but
so I'm just going to loosen it by just running the spatula around the edge first, just around there like that, and then just pop it upside down. Just start twisting back and forth, and it will come loose. You'll see it come down.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when it's a bit less sticky, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can see it just starting to loosen up now.
And another really good tip too, if you've got dough still around your blades, if you pop it back in and give it a couple of seconds on turbo, it'll all flick around to the side. So that also makes it pretty easy to get out as well.
Yeah. So you're left with that. You can see that.
That's okay. All right, and that's where we picked up from, isn't it, Jess?
Yeah. So I'm popping that just to prove straight in there.
It looks really soft, that dough. It looks beautiful.
It is. It's very warm, very soft. And then covering it for an hour. So that'll prove for like that for an hour.
Beautiful. All right, I'll jump back over. And so I've taken my simmering basket off the top. Just ignore my cat if you can hear him. He's a whinger and he's complaining about who knows what. Okay, so we're going to add in some sweet potatoes. I'm just thinking, I know that this recipe, so the really good thing, you can actually use preview and you can actually scroll through. And I know from when I prepped this, that this is actually going to puree for me once it's cooked. So what I actually might do is remove some of these prawns because I don't really want to puree these prawns. Particularly because I don't have prawns later on. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, well, let's just get in and cook it then and we'll see whether it does. I can always remove the prawns if I need to. 150 grams of sliced sweet potatoes. So all I've done is slice those up literally like this. Prawns smell good. 400 grams of coconut milk. Now I'm cheating today and using a can of coconut milk, but you can actually make your own coconut milk in the Thermomix. Has anyone done it? So I've done it lots of times. I didn't do it today because I had to work a morning shift at the hospital, but would love to hear from those that have done it what you thought. So I actually love making my own coconut milk. It's super easy. And the only real inconvenience is having to strain it, but that doesn't take very long, really. So there's a recipe on Cookadoo for it. I actually use one that's been around for a very long time, pre-TM5 days from the TM31. And it actually cooks the coconut milk in there and then you strain it out. Okay, and we're popping in some water. That's enough. And 2 teaspoons of chicken stock paste. So if you've not made chicken stock paste yet, highly recommend it. I keep mine in the freezer. I keep my veggie stock in the fridge, but my chicken stock in the freezer. But it's definitely worth having a batch of chicken stock just for things like chicken noodle soup. Actually, a lot of the soup recipes tend to use chicken stock, I find. And some of the risotto recipes you use chicken stock as well. And it's definitely worth making. It's delicious. Teaspoon of soy sauce. It's actually the one thing I didn't get out yet. But tell you what, it's looking pretty interesting in this bowl with just coconut cream and soy sauce and just random stuff. 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So I keep my spices, most of my spices in these little yogurt jars, and you can actually get spice lids for them from the mix shop as well. I just like them because with the little spice lids, it just makes it really easy just to tip out whatever I want, which I'm not going to put too much of that in. Okay, and then we're going to get a 1/4 teaspoon of ground turmeric. Pop that in. Now, 1/4 teaspoon of dried puccini mushrooms. This is optional. I'm leaving it out. I don't like mushrooms, but you can make your own up as per the ingredients. Why keep chicken stock in the freezer? You don't have to. You can definitely keep it in the fridge. I just find that I don't use it as much as vegetable stock, and also just the fact it has chicken in kind of mentally freaks me out a little bit, but it is safe to have in the fridge because of the salt, but I just keep it in the freezer. The other thing with all your stock pastes is as long as you put the right amount of salt in them, they won't freeze solid, so you can just literally scoop it out of the freezer. So yeah, I just find it more convenient for that reason. Okay. Lid on, we're going to cook that for 15 minutes, 90 degrees on speed 1. How are we going, Jess?
Yeah, so that the buns themselves, they will need proving for about 20 minutes. At that point, though, we've done about 10 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes at the moment. So we're just going to get them ready and pop them in the Fura from now, because I'll be able to show you exactly how they turn out and whatnot. So I've just got the cast iron out of the stove, and I've just placed it beside me so I can pop them straight in. So what I've done is I've got like an egg yolk, lightly beaten. All I'm going to do is just baste the top of them. So this is after the 20 minutes of the second proof, after you've shaped them into the buns. Now, this will give that nicer glaze for the top. So I'm going to pop them on there. And then once you've glazed them, the top of them, you can either pop your sesame seeds on top, or really whatever kind of seeds that you really want to pop on top. Yeah. That second proof will actually make them rise a little bit more after that, because we've knocked all of the air out of it after that first proof. Now, okay. I find the easiest thing to do, they say to pop your sesame seeds on now, although I find it much easier and cleaner to lift them straight in. See how I've got the edges? Straight in, place them down. You can see if I pull that just straight over there, straight in. That's why there's 4 in the middle and 3 either side. And now is when I'm going to actually put on the sesame seeds, so they won't spill all over the house. And that's a couple of teaspoons, or just lightly sprinkled straight over the top. As little or as much as you want, really. Okay, so I've got that. So I've got that straight onto there. Now, we're going to pop it straight onto the into the oven for about 10 minutes, with the lid on. So straight into the oven with the lid on. For 10 minutes. So that'll, and then once that 10 minutes is up, we're going to take the lid off, and then we're going to bake it for another 10 minutes with the lid off.
Hey Jess, do you mind just showing us the other theory, if you've got it, they're free, and talking about what you've made in them? Because you've actually made a heap of stuff in your Fira cast iron.
Just grab it. I have it in the hallway because my kitchen's not big enough.
Thank you.
So this is the second one. Now, it's a really lovely size, if you can see it from there. It's probably about, what is it, 28 centimetres. It's beautiful. It's got the droplets to help with the condensation. It's really lovely, really solid. So you can use this on the stovetop, no problem with that. You can also, so what I've done is I've seared chicken in it and made a chicken casserole. So a chicken and chorizo casserole on the stovetop first, covered it with the tomato, and then popped the lid on and chucked it straight into the oven for the last half an hour to 45 minutes to really kind of get that, all the juices and everything going, similar to a casserole. But I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's my favourite colour, so that helps. Yeah, it's very stylish. Very good cookware. Different things we cooked in there. You'll find on, go here, in the community, we've got, if we do a search for the cast iron, There's whole collections in here for the cast iron cookware. There we go. Cast, whoopsies, fat fingers. Oop, can't read upside down either, apparently. There's an R around here somewhere. There it is. Now, it'll come up with all the recipes, but if I go over to collections, it'll come up baking bread in our cast iron pot, and then there's comfort food. So click on the comfort food, and there's actually some really lovely meals in here that are cooked in the cast iron casserole dish and the smaller one. So there's a Mediterranean polenta with Mediterranean vegetables. That's really lovely. And the broccoli and ham pasta bake. That's cooked in this round cast iron. And I've also made the family burger pie. Now, I cooked this because I was very skeptical about a burger pie, so I had to try it. And it was surprisingly good.
Thank you, Jess. So while Jess has been doing that, I have just gone and double checked my recipe because I thought this is so weird because it does puree, but yet we've got prawns in there. So when I brought my prawns home, I actually left the tail on them because that's how I normally would cook my prawns, with the tail on, as a lot of people do. So I've actually just tipped all my ingredients out and had to take the tails off some of my prawns and put them back in so that I wasn't blending up prawn tails. So hot tip with this recipe is definitely peel your prawns completely. But I've just put back less, and I'm going to save some of them for the end, so we actually have like full prawns rather than the prawns all being blended. So yes, I didn't actually know that it blended the prawns. So there you go. And I had already prepared everything, so I obviously didn't read properly. So just a question, Sarah's just asking if you can cook the buns on a tray if you don't have the cast iron bake items. So we were just saying before, Sarah, you'd be better probably to cook them in some kind of dish, just so that they retain
the heat.
That kind of heat. You'd get a better texture. They'd be a bit more like just bread rolly, I think, if you put them on a tray rather than the good brioche stuff. I guess in an absolute pinch, like you could definitely make them, but it just might not be the same kind of texture. Yeah.
Because you're basically steaming them inside as well because of that moisture that's being held in there. And then about 10 minutes, and then we're taking the lid off to brown up the top.
Yeah, so that'd be that really nice, like soft kind of texture.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, let me jump over. And I will quickly screen share. So first I want to show you all is that at the moment in the mix shop, we have 20% off a range of cleaning products. So I don't know if anyone's received the email about this, or if you've all been so busy at school and at work this week, you haven't checked your emails, but this actually finishes tomorrow at 11 a.m. So if you haven't already jumped on there and bought yourself some cleaning product, jump on and do that because it's still finished. The other promotions I just wanted to show you are that at the moment you can actually get yourself a Thermomix 40 months interest free for $15.46 a week. So this is only until the 30th of September at 11 a.m. So if you know anyone that hasn't got themselves a TM6 yet and would like to get one on their bench, please let them know that this offer is finishing. You can, of course, pay it off early as well. So Zip are very flexible like that, but it is just something that might make it a little bit more possible for a few more people to save themselves some money cooking in the Thermomix. Also got a promotion at the moment where if you purchase a Thermomix, you will get a $75 mix shop card. So and you can use that card in sales as well. So that's pretty handy. And that runs till the 17th of October. So we've still got quite a while on that one, but a nice little gift when you get yourself a TM6. We've also got, and I love this promotion, a promotion that is just kicking off, where if you actually become a Thermomix consultant, you can actually pay your deposit and you can earn yourself a TM6 with only 4 sales. So normally you have to make 6 sales to actually earn your TM6. But at the moment, if you make 4 sales, you will earn yourself a TM6. So has anyone not got a TM6? I did have a read of all the replies, but just pop in the chat if you don't have a TM6. And also, if this is something that you would consider doing, let us know as well, and we can chat about it. And then lastly, I just wanted to bring up the Fira cast iron, just to have a little bit of a better look at it, because Jess showed us some great recipes. Maybe I just need to put in Fira. Am I spelling it right, Jess? It's only got 1 R, doesn't it?
No, it's 2 R's.
2 R's. What am I
You've
doing
still got
wrong?
to filter with the peeler. So it says include Thermomix peeler.
Yeah, that shouldn't matter though.
Oh,
Oh, maybe it's just called cast iron. Let's try that.
Cast iron cookware. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this, Nick.
beautiful dishes. I'll stop sharing so we can see.
So that's done the 10 minutes with the lid on. So I've just taken the lid off, and we're going to do a further 10 minutes with the lid off in the oven.
It looks delicious, Jess.
Smells delicious.
So we actually had, as consultants, we actually had a promotion a few months ago where we could actually earn ourselves these Fira items for free. So another great thing about being a consultant, you can of course earn yourself some free incentives, including just yesterday, I think, a lot of the consultants and team leaders have actually just come back from Uluru, which unfortunately Jess and I just missed out on. But next year we will definitely be there. All right. So, has anyone got any cockadoo questions just while we're on here killing some time? Is anyone converting their own recipes to put on cockadoo yet?
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Lenore.
Sorry. I've just got a question. I
Yeah.
only noticed today, actually. I sent over a recipe to Cookie-Doo from somewhere else in the new system that you've got. I don't know the correct, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, probably from the recipe community. Yep.
Yes, yeah, that's it, over to Cookie-Doo. And when I went to look at it, it's got the method, but no ingredients. I'm just wondering what I've done wrong. Yeah.
I'm not
It was
sure.
only the no fail mashed potato. I just thought, I'll try a different way of doing mash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't have the ingredients. So I might go back and look at it again and see if I mean, obviously it's probably user error.
Well, let me go through the process of how to do it, just because there's probably a few people on here that haven't done it yet as well.
Yeah.
So let me jump on and we'll convert a recipe together and we'll see whether that helps with your question.
Okay.
You might
Thanks,
spot
Nick.
something, and yeah. So let me do that. I will just screen share again. Hang on. Just screen share again. So there's a couple of ways to get it into Cookadoo. The first is you can go into My Recipes.
Right.
And you just hit on created recipes here. And then you've got the option to actually put it in yourself. So this little plus icon, I don't know if you can see on my screen, but right down the bottom here,
Yep.
Can you see that little plus? So if I press on that plus, I can create or import. So if I click import, I can actually paste a URL from a website in there. But you do need to be careful that you don't use anything that's copyrighted, like the Skinny Mixes recipes and those kind of websites where they're owned by third parties. Yeah. So I could click create recipe and put my own recipe from scratch in. But another easy way is if you go to recipe community, let me just drag my screen down a bit. So we'll cut out the middleman. We'll say, yep, let's just go recipe community. We'll find a recipe on there. Find apple crumble. That looks good. Let's go into this apple crumble recipe. The other thing I like to do when I kind of vet recipes to look at is make sure that the steps are all stepped out. So this is good. See how they've got individual steps, but you know, you open some of them and they're just one paragraph and it's all mixed together.
Yes.
They're a lot more difficult to edit. So I like them like this. What you can do is just hit add to Cookadoo, and then that will open up a new thing and it will pop it into Cookadoo. So I'm going to hit confirm. And now it's got my list of ingredients. So this should be there. It's got my prep steps. So what you do need to do, so you can go in here and change the picture. You can change the name of it. You can fiddle with all these things here. You can also change your ingredient list. So if I wanted to make it say gluten-free, I could change this and make it gluten-free self-raising flour, right?
Yep.
But what you do need to do, if you want it to appear on your Thermomix properly, is you do need to click on the little pen button up here and actually edit your steps so that they appear as clickable links on your TM6 screen. So I'm going to delete apples, lemon juice, and sugar. I'm just going to hit delete, and I'm going to go into my ingredients here, which is this picture, and I'm going to select apples. I'm going to select lemon juice, and I'm going to select sugar. Now it's got two lots of sugar. So, but I would assume that this is probably for the first ingredients and the rest is probably for the crumble because it's just the way that she's listed it. But normally you wouldn't obviously have the two lots. So once that step's done, I'm going to tick it. Then I'm going to come down here, 9 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. And I'm going to go into my cooking settings and I'm going to say 9 minutes. I'm going to say 100 degrees and I'm going to say speed 1. And I'm going to tick that. And if I wanted to use a mode, there is a little button for that at the side too. And then I'm going to tick that one. Puree for 3 seconds, speed 5. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put in 3 seconds, speed 5. I'm going to tick that. And then we're going to pop it in the oven. So, and then we would come down here and go sugar, coconut, flour, butter, and flour. It's a lot easier if you do it on a laptop. I've done this on a phone and it's not nearly as easy to just go and pop everything in. So if you've got a laptop or something to do it with, I always find that's better. And cubes and 10 seconds. So I'll tick that one, 10 seconds, speed 10. So we'll delete that and we'll go into the cooking settings. We'll say 10 seconds. And speed 10. And then tick that. And that's basically it. Then pop in the oven. Now make sure once you've edited those that you hit confirm. Otherwise it won't save it.
Yep.
So now if I scroll down, you'll see how these are all highlighted. That means that when I go in on my Thermomix, now I can actually click and it will bring up those list of ingredients.
Right.
So the only thing I'm thinking is if that didn't work for you, let me just stop sharing for a minute.
And then once you've done all the editing, make sure you press done at the top as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Let me quickly, because I haven't done that yet. I didn't even pick up on that, Jess. So thank you. Let me just quickly go and share screen again. And I'll just show you up the top here. Once you've hit confirm, then you have to say done. And then it will be saved on there. There's the apple crumble.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But I'm wondering if it didn't copy over properly, whether maybe the ingredients weren't put into recipe community properly by the person that originally put them in. That's another possibility. But if they
well, as I say, it could be that, or it could be me. So I just thought it might have been. I'll go back now anyway and have a look.
Yeah.
And have to play with those and just see.
Yeah, we'll go back and just see how you go. And if you've got any questions, just sing out to either Kerry or I to give you a hand.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Nick.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Let me just go back here and I'll just show you where we're at. Okay, so I'm going to add in 50 grams of cream cheese. Let me just tear that. $49, that's definitely close enough. Now we're going to pop the lid on and we're going to blend it. So now we're going to blend it because it doesn't have prawn tails in. So I hope that my error shows everyone that you can own a Thermomix for 10 years, over 10 years now, and still do silly things if you don't read the recipe properly or if you don't read through it. So 30 seconds up to speed 4, and then we're going to go gradually to speed 9. So I won't be able to hear you much after this, but I would love you guys to pop in the chat. Because we're making a soup, what kind of soup recipes you've made, what's your favorite soup, or also what your favorite seafood recipes are.
So while Nick's doing that, that's done up for an extra 10 minutes. And if you can see there, that's come out just like that. So we're just going to let it sit in the cast iron pot for another 5 minutes before placing out onto a rack, a drying rack.
That looks awesome, Jess. Hang on, let me quickly add a pin to you. Have they finished?
Yes, so they have done their extra 10 minutes without the lid on. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let them sit in there for another 5 minutes before we're placing them out onto a rack.
Oh, nice. They look great.
They smell amazing.
All right, so grab out your notepad and write down some of the soups that everyone is recommending, because there's some definitely good ones there. Creamy garlic prawns, hug in a mug, spicy Moroccan lentil. We used to do that cooking classes, chunky vegetable, chickpea, love it. Pop in reserved parsley. So look at that, it wasn't a garnish. So here's the pureed soup, which hopefully has no shell in it. Jess can try it later and tell me if it does. Well, I mean, I'm going to eat it too, but so I love a recipe that tells me to put the garnish back in and doesn't just tell me to put it at the end, because I'm not reading that many steps. Now we're going to put in 150 grams of the prawns, which I'm only going to put in, so I took out, which are, oh, here they are. So mine will have the tails on them, so we'll have to pick them off in the soup, but I don't know. I've always just made prawns, like left the tails on prawns. Maybe I'm strange. Lid on. I'm going to go 5 minutes, 90 degrees, reverse, definitely important to have reverse now because our prawns are in there. Speed 1. So another 5 minutes and it will be done. And now I'll know for the next time I make this soup to definitely take off the prawn tails. Cauliflower soup. I love the creamy cauliflower soup with the chicken, the creamy chicken cauliflower soup, the skinny mixes one that you make the taco seasoning and sprinkle it over. I love that soup. So good. And it's super healthy too. So if I feel like I'm eating terribly, sometimes I'll just make that soup just for something like small. It's very low calorie, low carb, all of it. All the good things that we probably should do that we don't, or that I don't.
Potato soup, not so low carb.
I've heard that soup is, I've heard that soup is really good, but I've heard it's really good from you, Jess. So that's a person who's recommending it. I'm still
make it a lot. It's super quick to make. It's great.
Yeah, I'll have to make it because you've told me a couple of times now how good it is. So
yes, surprisingly, yes, very very creamy.
I am going to press on the home screen so we can look at stuff while our Thermomix is cooking in the background. And what I'm going to show you, actually, it won't let me look at. I was going to show you through one of the created recipe I just made, but I'll show you through it at the end. But I will show you that the apple crumble that I just put on here will now be on my Thermomix. There it is, apple crumble. First one there. So it's not going to let me actually start the recipe. At least I don't think it will. Let me have a look. Oh, look at that. It actually does. It actually does let you go through a created recipe while you're cooking. I didn't know that, so I've learned something too. So you'll see now how these words are highlighted. So if I press on these, it's going to bring up my ingredients that I need to add for this step.
Oh, see, that's what it brought up with me. Sorry for interrupting you, Nick.
No, that's okay.
What it brought up. That's what it brought up with me. And I'm going, okay, well, it didn't say how many potatoes. Well, but if I press on it, it'll probably be there.
You will, yes, yes. So if you've been and edited it, if you don't edit it, it will still have the words, but you can't click on it to bring it up. But if you have done that edit step, then you can click on it and it will come up like that.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
And then obviously you click the next step and that would say 9 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. It's now saying stop the Thermomix if you plan on cooking this, but that's okay. We don't plan on actually mixing the apple crumble with the prawn soup. That wouldn't be very nice. But yeah, then it would have these preset for my next step. Yeah, so that's the advantage of just spending those extra few minutes and going in and editing it. It does make it a lot easier, except when you forget to put a space between your 5 and your 2 like this, but that's okay. We can pretend that didn't happen. How long have we got? We've got 1:57. Does anyone have any other questions? Who's super jealous of me that I get to eat one of Jess's bread rolls soon? I'm excited.
Pick them straight up
They look amazing.
and straight onto the drying rack. So I've just picked them up by those edges straight up like that. It's been sitting in there for about 5 minutes, and now we'll just let them. You can serve them once they've cooled down a little bit more, or let them completely cool down. They freeze really well. You can also slice them up and make some brioche French toast with them. So that also works really well as well.
And I'm going to pop a link because you can actually save $79 if you buy the Fira cast iron stuff as a set. So I'm going to post a link in here now for those that are keen to get the cast iron bakeware. So there is obviously the 2 pieces, and you can just buy one, like Jess has just used the one today, but if you do want to get the set of them, you do save $79, which I think is a pretty good deal. I think this may be my on my Christmas list. We'll see. Right, we are nearly done. 19 seconds left. So of course, I'm going to be putting this in my thermoserver, which I've just given a quick rinse to because I did use it to tip everything out so that I could fish out those prawn tails before. If you haven't got a thermoserver yet, definitely host yourself a cooking experience because it's the only way you can access a thermoserver, except for the odd month where they do have them as a gift with purchase, but definitely not this month. Okay, 20 grams of lime juice, freshly squeezed. Just going to tear that. Definitely doing a, but we're going to pretend this is freshly squeezed. It's not really. I did cheat on the lime juice. Measuring cup on, 1 more minute. Reverse, 90 degrees. And you can hit preview up here and it will actually show us what the next step is, which is of course going to be dividing between bowls, garnishing with reserved croutons. So you didn't actually see me make the croutons, but if I go back here into my recipe detail, when Jess was talking, I skipped past this and forgot to actually tell anyone what I was doing. So let me just unpin Jess for a minute so you can read it a little bit bigger. So with this step here, where are we? There we go. Yeah, so just after we added in the spices and then cooked it for 15 minutes, what it asked us to do while it was cooking was to actually heat butter in a non-stick frying pan and pop in a sliced garlic clove and 4 slices of bread cut up into 1 centimeter cubes. So obviously I did this this afternoon. I didn't do it while I was trying to save my prawn tails. So let me show you what that looks like. I tell you what, it smelled delicious. I haven't made homemade croutons for ages, and it literally smelled like garlic bread. It was delicious. There are so many of them, and they've just been sitting there waiting to be snacked on. Okay, so divide between serving bowls with extra parsley leaves, roughly chopped. We know I'm not going to do that. Serve immediately. And we know that Ellen's not going to do it either. So I'm going to pop this into cream masala. If you are making this, I definitely recommend not skimping on the prawns like I have, because I thought, well, it's only for like 2 or 3 people. Because you will blend half of them up. If I hadn't realized that earlier, I probably could have used the frozen prawns that need to be used in my freezer, but that's okay. So here's our soup. I will pop that into a bowl so that you can actually see what it looks like. Looks delicious. Smells like prawns. If you don't like prawns, definitely do not make this. So a bowl there. And then I'm just going to garnish with croutons, not with parsley. There we go. You can't see the prawns, but they're in there and they still have tails on those few. All right. There we go. Finished 1 minute early. Does anyone have any questions before Jess and I go and exchange goods? We should do this more often, Jess. I like this idea. It's like a progressive.
Good, isn't it?
It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Beautiful.
All right. Any questions, anyone?
Thanks, ladies, both of you. I'm going to have to run. Thanks very much for that was great. Very informative.
Very nice to see you. I hope that you're doing well.
Thanks, Nick. You too. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
You, ladies.
Bye.
See ya. And thanks for all getting on, or it would have just been Jess and I cooking and then just taking food to each other. We could have just done that at home. Yes, Sarah, I have to admit, I'm very jealous of Jess. I think I need to invest some as well. They look amazing.
I waited a long time for some really lovely cookware like this, and it finally came about and I went for it.
They're a very pretty colour too.
They are gorgeous.
Yeah. I need a bigger kitchen at the moment to put them in. That's what I need. All right. Well,
one of those things you make space
yeah. I'd have to trade. I don't know. I'm sure I could make it work anyway. All right. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. It's only Thursday, but it feels like it's Friday. All right. See ya.
Bye.